So what did this. So this is not perfectly done, but it's something that I just want to share from the bottom of my heart about this material. I've been around it for 25 years. I'd like to talk to you about a couple of things that are kind of on the field of business and off the field of business. The first place that the Styles framework made a difference for me was with my mother. I was a competitive tennis player growing up. My mother is an authority person, and she pushed me to no end. Okay, I would win a match, and it was still, well, you could have done this better. I would get into college, and she'd say, well, when are we going to hear from the next college? And I started to make up an interpretation that she didn't love me. And when I got around this material, I learned something, and that authority people show love by pushing you. So you want to envision, as a 19-year-old young man, having a conversation with my mother where I could acknowledge that I understood that she loved me. That was life-changing. Okay? Number two is learning, and it kind of goes back to the field of business. My first partner in my energy-efficient lighting business was about 45 when I started with him, and I was 22. And he was kind of doing everything in the business. And like you heard from the panel last night, he started letting go and letting me do some things, okay? And it was life-changing to watch a man at 45 years old who had been very successful, had also been through personal bankruptcy. And he started teaching me real life, that you don't die in this game. And the neatest thing that he did was that at some point, our coach told us, given our styles, that we should reverse roles. I was doing sales, he was doing more of the operations. And he said, based on our styles as influences and authorities, we should switch. And Randy actually took that on board. And when I got into the operations, I got really good at that. And when he got into sales, he just killed it. And it was life-changing, not just because of the money, folks, but because it was so neat to watch someone learn at any age. And I just want to let you guys know, I've been so appreciative of that here, okay? The next one is courage, and this one might, start taking me down a tough path. But the accident that I was in, my best friend was killed, okay? And after that accident, my wife had to pick me up, and she had to point out to me that I had to get back into my life. And the first thing that she did is she helped organize 50 of Chris's friends and my friends and his family meeting in Kona to do the Hawaii Ironman, okay? And about 13 miles into the run, so an Ironman is 2.4 mile swim, 112-mile bike, and then it's a marathon. And about 15 miles into the run, my body completely exploded. I had no salt left in my system, so I was hyponatremic. And there was a moment where I went, I don't think I'm going to make it. And this material reminded me that my intention at that race was to honor my friend. It wasn't to get a time, it was to honor my friend. And so as my body just failed, as my biology just gave out, my neocortex said, yeah, that's the bigger purpose. And I walked, and I did not walk in a straight line. And 4 different times an ambulance came up to me and said, sir, do you want to get off the course? And if they touch you in that race, you are out. And I said, do not touch me. And 500 yards from that finish line, Chris's father ran with me. To this day, it's the most important moment in my life outside of my wife and my children. And I tell you that because this material can be that impactful if you will let it. Okay? The next one is appreciation, which is also something that, look, you guys have been so authentic with us, like with Jess. I want to tell you about how deep to the core this style stuff can really go. My brother-in-law, Dan Murray, can probably tell by the montage here, he passed away, 45 years old, 37 years old, brain cancer. Lives for 8 years, has a stroke, and within 1 month, passes away. So my wife and I and our children, we go out to Florida where he lives, and I guarantee everybody in this room has had a moment like this. So I know you can all relate to me on this. This is just life. We're all there. We all know Dan is going to die. Dan knows he's going to die. I mean, the writing is on the wall. So my wife, my mother-in-law go in, talk to Dan. I asked to go last because Dan was a power guy. And what he did for me was he always made me feel included, even with all of his Air Force friends. Every time I went somewhere, I was always his brother, not his friend. Okay? And when I walked down that hallway, and I knew the last time I'll ever see him, as a power guy, I just said, you know what? I'm going to trust this. I said, Dan, I want you to know, you are the person, have been the person that has held our family together for 25 years. You are the glue of this family. And I want you to know that I love you for that. And what I hope is at some level on his deathbed, as he looks down, that was really meaningful. That's the kind of acknowledgement that this kind of material can offer when you really understand what's going on for other people. So the last one brings us back to you folks. It brings us back to you folks. These last 2.5 days have been really great for us. I mean, you got to get, it doesn't go like this every time. Tony's not this good every time, okay? Finally, okay? But you know what made this great? It wasn't Jason. It wasn't Tony. And it wasn't me. Honest to God, you guys, it was all of you. So when I put this up here about possible and what does that mean, what it means to me is that, listen, folks, what you have here and what you are building here is incredibly special. And what it's making possible is this whole strategy, this whole intentionality that your company has and that you folks have to be world class. And for us, these last 2.5 days, this has been a world class experience. From the bottom of my heart, thank you.